was meant to take a bit of a different turn. However, the release of Chapter 5, and particularly one small detail from the Spam 2 ARG leading up to this, has shifted this video. And that small detail is something I want us all to take a look at right now. For almost an entire year, Toby Fox ran what was probably Deltarune's most elaborate ARG to date. Emails, secret follow-up questions, and a shrinking group of eligible participants all led toward one central mystery surrounding the web. The very first question players were asked was incredibly simple. How long did it take her to smile? Nobody knew what it meant, and many more weren't even sure how to input anything into the form itself. Thousands of people submitted answers. Most were simply just acknowledged or given like a failure response. However, all correct answers end with a strangely ominous instruction. Move forward with this answer. Over the following months, instruction. Move forward with this answer. Over the following months, new questions appeared. More participants were filtered out, and eventually only 1,229 people remained to solve the ARG's final stage before Chapter 5 released. When Chapter 5 finally arrived, we learned what the original question had been building up towards. During the weird route, Chris and Noelle walk into the lake, culminating in one of the game's most unsettling scenes. The question wasn't metaphorical at all. It was actually asking about that moment. But hidden among the countless responses people received throughout the ARG is one that almost everyone glossed right over. Answering 4 chapters to how long did it take her to smile produced this response. You answered 4 chapters. Then, it was the first time she ever smiled in her life. Move forward with this answer. At first glance, this just sounds like Toby being dramatic, until you actually stop and think about what it's saying. It doesn't say the first genuine smile, nor the first smile since Death disappeared. It is very explicitly the first time she had ever smiled in her life. That is an incredibly specific choice of words, because unless Toby Fox is implying that Noelle somehow spent her entire childhood, infancy, and every moment leading up to the events of Deltarune without ever smiling once, the statement shouldn't make any sense. Unless the amount of time Noelle has actually existed is much shorter than she believes. It's very possible that this idea of last Thursdayism extends much further than the Dark Wars, and it's actually just as true about Hometown and its residents. And we don't have to just stop there. Using this new interpretation, we can look back at a very interesting piece of dialogue from Chapter 4. When fighting the Titan spawn, you can see this message appear during the battle. When did you start being yourself? If we use the reading we just applied to the ARG evidence, we can infer that this may actually be about this last Thursdayism concept. If you only came into existence the previous Thursday,